Hello, Earth and Space Science students. This is our first instructional video for Unit 2, Week 1, and this unit is about the history of Earth. So to kind of give you a little bit broader scope, I guess, we just finished Unit 1, and Unit 1 is all about space. And there was kind of those four big ideas. How did the universe start? And that was kind of where we talked about the theory of the Big Bang. We then talked about, in your course, about the sun, the formation of our star here on Earth, and some of the processes that stars go through, such as nuclear fusion, and that's how they generate the energy that we get here on Earth, as well as some other different specific things about the sun. You guys then moved into learning about stars specifically and kind of the life cycle of stars, and they're kind of determined by two different, one property really just has to be the mass of the star, and that can lead to those two different pathways is what I was getting at. Where sometimes they can form black holes, where others they can form those white dwarfs at the end of their life cycle. And we also learned that in stars, when they, after their, I think it's their red giant or giant red giant phase, they explode usually, they go supernova. And that's how we create a lot of the other elements that we see throughout our world, rather than just hydrogen and helium. And then kind of the last thing that we talked about was how do objects move in space? And that was looking at Newton's laws of gravity, as well as Kepler's laws of planetary motion. And so that's all we learned about space. So everything basically out. And then really the rest of this course, we're going to focus on Earth. So even though the course is titled Earth and Space, the space is only Unit 1, and then Earth is essentially everything else. And now we're going to really focus on, okay, how did that early Earth form, and how did early life form based on how early Earth was forming. To start off, if we look at our first activity here, we're just going to be going over some vocabulary. I always try and do that at the beginning of every unit, so you kind of have a nice foundation of some of the terms we're going to be using and talking about. And the way that I do my vocabulary might be a little different, but you kind of have two goals here. You're going to try and write a definition as much as you can in your own words, and I'll kind of show you how to do that in the directions, as well as just try and provide an example for each word. If you look at our lesson plan portion over here, there's a video I'd like you to watch. We're going to watch it both activities. So you could watch the whole thing now if you'd like. When I played this in class, I split it up. So we watch half one day, half the other. So you'll see it's linked down here. You can watch the whole thing, but it kind of gives you a really nice overview, even though it's 9 minutes, of how early Earth formed and things that were going on back then in our early solar system. And then this activity kind of gives you an idea of what an early solar system could kind of be like as it was forming. So this is really just kind of for fun, I think. It takes a little while to load, so I'm going to pause and then I'll get back to you when it's loaded. All right, so this is what that website looks like. I'm going to turn my sound off here, and you're going to click Start. And what you're trying to do is create a solar system. And so you have a young star right there, and you can see you can add different objects to it. So I can add some, these are really small things. I'm not really sure if these are just like asteroids or meteorites, whatever you want to call them. I guess they're not meteorites unless they hit Earth, so they'd be asteroids. You can apparently drag and release a comet. So I can shoot a comet in there, and you can see it kind of has that icy tail there. So you can kind of follow it. You can make a ring of asteroids, kind of cool. Same, particles, whatever. And then you can drag and release planets, and you'll trace its orbits as it kind of goes around. You can do smaller mass planets. I can get one that is about the size of Earth, supposedly. I can go all the way up to like Saturn here, or what looks to be kind of like Saturn. Get really big ones here. I assume this is probably similar to Jupiter. And then what's really cool is you can actually add other stars. So they can create kind of that dual thing here. And fun fact, the stars can collide. And so then they start making a bigger star. So I found this to be kind of neat. I think the best thing that's kind of, the really cool thing is that it'll trace their orbits as they go around. And it has this different mode here, this cam mode. So you can actually go like 3D almost. It's kind of weird. I'm more like it so that you can scroll out and then you use your arrow keys to kind of drive. And then go back to place mode because you can get lost. And if you ever get lost, just hit reset and hit start. But what we're kind of looking at in this activity is our early solar system. It's not like what we have today where it's more or less really, solid, perfect orbits here. That took a lot of, millions of years for our solar system to kind of settle into the orbits that it has. And so this is kind of more something that would be like an early solar system where there's lots of things crashing into each other. There's lots of different moving parts, different things colliding, combining. A lot of how they think we got, like, say, a lot of Earth as well as the moon was, and we'll learn about this a little bit later, is things smashing into each other. Like they think the moon, if I remember right, is like a part of a chunk of what was Earth that kind of, shot off and now is in our orbit. But it's kind of crazy. So you guys can kind of mimic the conditions of earlier solar system in this kind of model, just to kind of get an idea of it. And I thought it was kind of cool because it does relate to our previous unit. There are no notes this whole week, actually. And then I'll go through how to do the vocab and the directions here down below. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.